It only took 10 episodes for me to be ridiculously nervous to interview someone. I've interviewed a couple of people who are running for political office. I've interviewed some friends, and I've interviewed some strangers, business owners here in St. Lucie County. And I wasn't nervous for any of them. Sorry if that offends any of you. But this week's episode was going to be different. Yes, Yvonne Poindexter is a business owner. And I don't think she has any political aspirations, but those weren't the reasons that I was nervous. See, Yvonne has gone through something that nobody should have to. Yvonne lost her daughter in an accident here in St. Lucie County a number of years ago. And I didn't know if I was going to be prepared to ask the right questions or to receive the answers that I was getting. And it made me pretty dang nervous, if I'm being honest. But Yvonne and her husband Todd are someone who I've driven by their house, I don't want to underestimate, 10,000 times in my life. Driving up and down my mom's driveway, you drive right by their house. And I met Brittany before her accident, and Yvonne and I talked about that some in our conversation. But what I got out of this conversation was a lot more than I was expecting. I got to meet Yvonne. I got to find out a lot of things about Brittany that I didn't know. And I got to see a mom who's determined not to let her daughter's memory fade away. And that resolve is going to be unmatched. And I promise you, Brittany's memory is not going to fade away because Yvonne's not going to let it. Nor should she. Brittany was a really cool kid. And she had a really bright future here in St. Lucie County. And we're missing out on the impact that she would have had here. Yvonne Poindexter, Citizens of St. Lucie, episode 10. I'm very, very thankful that you're joining us here. I'm just going to tell the camera what I told you before I started. Like, I'm super nervous to interview you. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but we'll get all into that. What I want to start with, however, is kind of your backstory. Who are you? How did you end up in St. Lucie County? Like, I know there's going to be quite a bit more to the story that we get to in a little bit, but I think it's important that we kind of set the groundwork as to who you are, why you're even in here talking to me. But I'll set the stage kind of to start.
Sure.
I grew up on Header Canal Road.
Know that road very well.
You do. And growing up there, you guys were not the family that lived in that front house. What year did you guys move there?
15, I believe.
Goodness, that makes me feel very old.
Yeah, I think it was 15.
So there's been a number of families that lived up in that house specifically. Like, that was there when my mom and dad bought that piece of property to move in like 1998. Like, that house was already still there. But you guys moved in there 2015. Previous to that, you lived in St. Lucie County?
Yes, Torino.
Okay. So a little bit of a change of pace. 2015, it was still kind of country out there. Not so much anymore.
Not so much.
But 2015, you uproot from Torino.
For Brittany, for horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was actually out with her friends, either riding horses or the four-wheelers, whatever she was doing. And she had noticed that house. And then a mutual friend of ours actually the same day called us because we were looking for property out west for her horses.
Yeah.
And they said, there's a house on Header Canal that you might like. And the next day we were there. So she had kind of stalked the house a little bit.
Okay.
So she knew where she wanted to be. She knew all of that. And then
she found it for you.
She found it. She did. She literally found it. So she was like, this is it. And then before we even closed on the property, her and her friends, I'm not supposed to do this, but they were there looking in the windows. I mean, I'm like, we don't own the house yet, Brittany. You know what I mean? So
they were checking it out.
They were checking it out, so very exciting. So she pretty much found the property. Yeah.
That was such a cool place to grow up. And even then, it was such a cool place to grow up because you could go do stuff like that and not get in trouble. Like, not to say that you could go...
You'd get in trouble by the neighbors because the neighbors would know your parents.
Sure.
And then you'd get in trouble through the neighbors.
Sure. Yeah. And like, it's community policing kind of. Like,
absolutely.
We were all kind of doing some crazy stuff out there, but as long as we weren't doing anything bad, nobody was really going to...
Kids being kids.
Oh, it was such a cool place to grow up. And that's cool. So she found it for you.
She found it.
There was a horse stable on that barn. What do you call it?
Barn.
Barn.
Yeah.
I'm not a horse person, so I don't know. I drive by it all the time. So What I did is when I reached out to you, I said, listen, I've driven by your house. I couldn't even estimate how many times. My mom and dad still live out there. I drive up and down that driveway all the time. You and I have never spoken a word to each other that I know of. Maybe a hi, and we definitely have waved, but that's about it. And I've talked to your husband a handful of times as a much younger person. I'm sure he probably wasn't thrilled to be dealing with this idiot going up and down the driveway all the time or whatever.
He's probably yelling at you, stop the dust, stop the dust.
Probably. But I am very familiar with parts of your story, not all of it. But I did a little bit of digging into you. I want to, again, talk about a little bit of your background before we get into probably the meat and potatoes of what you want to talk about. You're from Massachusetts.
Yes, sir.
All right. So today I saw there is kind of a mega blizzard in Massachusetts.
Thank God I'm not there.
I'm very glad that we're here in Florida.
Absolutely.
And I was a little cold this morning rolling out, but can't complain too much.
Yep.
My sister lives in North Dakota. So I'm very familiar with the idea of blizzards, but I've never been in one. How long did you live in Massachusetts? You grew up there, right?
I grew up there. Oh yeah, Brittany was born there. I have 2 stepsons that were born there. So Brittany was born there until she was about 11 years old.
And you went to esthetician school there?
Oh, you really dove in deep. Oh.
1994, I think,
yes,
maybe?
Yes, esthetician school. I was an esthetician for quite many years. Then I transitioned into real estate. My husband had a siding company up there, so I did all his books and everything like that. Never really jumped into a career until I actually moved to Florida, though.
Okay.
Yeah, so then I moved to Florida, speed ahead, and got my real estate license in Florida and all that good stuff. And I was showing commercial property to 2 gentlemen that were opening up a substance abuse treatment center.
Okay.
And so we hit it off. We were, just great. They said, why don't you come work for us and help us, with the substance abuse treatment center. And at the time, my oldest stepson, he was suffering from the opioid epidemic. So I was a mama bear, and I was like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to save all of you. You know what I mean? So I go into it like that.
Do you mind if I take a pause from the story here? Opioid epidemic. What year are we talking about?
2011, 12, right around there.
I asked you before if there was anything you didn't want me to ask you about. You said no. So
Go ask.
I would be interested in your experience with that.
Oh.
Everybody talks about prescription pain meds, opioid epidemic, and I feel like it maybe gets glossed over a little
Completely.
bit. There was a period of time where people were pretty consistently dropping in the streets because of drug overdoses.
Absolutely.
Anything that you want to share on that? What was your experience? Obviously being on the helping people get into drug rehab real estate side, you're on the real estate side, but you kind of...
I transitioned completely onto the other side.
Yeah.
And I transitioned ended up being a COO of a huge treatment center, 700 beds throughout the company, and then I transitioned to opening up my own treatment center in New Hampshire. So it was pretty much self-taught myself everything. Back in the day, fake it till you make it. Google was my best friend.
Yeah.
But
before AI could tell you everything,
AI could
right?
tell me everything. But so the number one thing, though, is it still gets glossed over, and it's been getting glossed over, and addiction hits so many families, and it's swept underneath the rug. And I call it the silent killer because it just attacks families, but it also attacks the nucleus of the family. And it ends up like a spider web, and it starts affecting relationships within the families too.
Right.
So if people would just address addiction and mental health straight on and have real raw conversations about it, I think we could get a lot further ahead in the way that everything is going right now in it.
Do you think that a lot of that, look, obviously the end result, it boils down on the person who is addicted.
Absolutely.
Of course.
And their support system.
They're the ones that are ultimately making the decision. I feel like in our communities, there's a lot of families who, all right, this particular person in our family, drug addict, let's push them aside and get them out of the way, hide them, whatever. Maybe they're embarrassed. Maybe it doesn't, kind of align with family values or community values. Does a lot of that, now you're talking to someone who doesn't know a whole lot about drug addiction, so that's why I'm asking. Does a lot of that family culture and the way that families address drug addiction in our society, does that have a lot to do with how people go about trying to address their addiction? Yes
and no, because it's a fine line. Because on one, I've been a victim myself of enabling. So you want to enable that person because if you think as long as you're helping that person, whether it's you're giving them $20, a place to stay, this, that, the other thing, It's that love. You know what I mean? So it's like you're always trying to help that person, but on the flip side, because you're doing that, you're hurting them.
Right.
So you're enabling the behavior. So it's honest to God, a really fine line you have to go through of real soul searching, like, am I really helping this person or am I enabling their behavior? So it's when I tell you it affects families dramatically, it's a lot. It's a lot to turn your child away. It's a lot to say, no, you can't put your head on your pillow this tonight because of your drug addiction. It's a lot to do that. It's a lot on a parent turning a child away. But like I said, on the flip side, are you enabling that behavior? So it's just, it has to get addressed more. It has to, there's so much mental health right now stemming in with the social media and all of that stuff. So a lot of the kids nowadays, mental health needs to be addressed at a really young age.
Yeah, and I am aware that we're sitting here making a social media video. I am always talking about the dangers of social media, and especially with kids. And yes, of course. And part of the reason why I'm enjoying doing this is that it has been such a positive experience. Everyone that I have talked to as the episodes have come out is positive. We're not highlighting negatives. It's local. It's people who are in our network. What I'm finding is, like, when I'm scrolling social media, I'm seeing a story from somewhere I've never been. People that I don't know, people I'm never going to encounter. And while I should probably care about that, I shouldn't care about it enough to sit and watch the video. What is happening around me in real life is way more important than those videos that you see.
Well, it brings it back full fold for me, though, because I got out of it. I got out of it treatment completely, and then I met somebody I'm in the roofing industry now. So I met somebody in the roofing industry, and he was on the board of New Horizons. So now I'm back on the board of New Horizons. That's another thing in this St. Lucie County that it's, underrated. It's amazing the things that New Horizons are doing, and they need a bigger platform to talk to people about.
For sure.
So it's absolutely amazing. So I'm back into the substance abuse field through New Horizons right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So to your point, they offer, and I'm going to butcher this because I'm very underprepared. New Horizons offers like a service where they will come get you and bring you to their facility. And I may be off on that, but I didn't know about this until they came in. They're just out here going into businesses, didn't come in to me specifically. They walked into my office, they handed me some pamphlets, and they're like, hey, we're really struggling to get the word out that this is even a service that we offer. We're just in the community telling everyone. And I agree. And I've talked about it on the podcast. My office is on Orange Avenue, downtown. I look out my window every single day and I see someone, more than one person, struggling with mental health. And you can tell. You can tell. And if there's that many that you can tell just by looking, there's so many people that are struggling beneath the surface too. I don't think we're doing enough. Not to say that New Horizons isn't doing enough, but like as a community, we could do so much better. Any thoughts on that?
I agree with you completely, but it starts at home too, though.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is it starts at home in your family unit. And if your family unit is not secure, where are they going to get that help? So it is self-awareness. It is awareness in the community. It is letting people know what New Horizons and other facilities do have to offer. So it's definitely a community effort, for sure. But it's also attacking it at the young age. A lot of kids don't like to listen, so they're going to learn on their own. We all know that. So, but it's trying to address it at a younger age because of the influences that they do have nowadays that are so negative. So if we could get together and collectively educate these children that what you see on social media is not always true.
It's not real life.
It's not real life. Yeah. So that's a huge key factor right now in a lot of mental health. Yeah, agreed. Yeah. And there's so many, I'm sure we could do a full podcast on just what we can do better in mental health. Yeah. And, anybody who is in that space, I always like to get their input. How do you go from that and real estate to roofing? Obviously there's the real estate connection, but it's not an easy jump to make. No, it's not an easy jump, but it was a funny jump because I ended up having a substance use treatment center in New Hampshire. 2021, I walked away from that. It was too much because we'll go into that after. It was too much. So I ended up flipping houses with my husband around here, and I bought a little tiny property on Delaware Ave. It's that little blue building right across from the school, next to the coffee shop. Yeah. I own that little blue house. So my brother opened up a roofing company, Rich Cap Roofing. So I would pop in there all the time because Brittany's best friend Kylie was doing their books and all that stuff. So I'd pop in and, hey, what's going on? Yeah. Hey, what are you doing? So I tend to sometimes not keep my mouth shut when it comes to certain things.
You don't say.
So
I have that problem too.
Sometimes it's like, so my brothers would be there, they would be doing the roofing stuff, and my backup operations and logistics is my thing. So I said, why don't you do it like this? Do it like this. Do it like this. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. So finally, my brother just looked at me one day and said, what's it going to take for you to come here?
Yeah, just come do it.
So I was like, okay. So I got into the family roofing business.
Okay.
So that's how I got into it. It was literally just because I couldn't keep my mouth shut of how my brother was running his business.
You got yourself a new job.
So I got myself part of the company, got myself a new job, and that's how it started.
So, all right, kind of a follow-up question, not from my researching, just from my own personal observation. I need to know something.
Sure.
What is dustless tile removal, and how is that different than regular tile removal?
So when we bought the house out on South Header Canal, we were still living in Torino, and I just wanted to be in there. Brittany wanted to be in there with the horses, so we were going back and forth, and there was all ceramic tile in there. So yet again, me and my mouth, I said to my husband, I was like, there's got to be a way to get, because he's like, we're not moving in here until all the tile's out because it makes a mess. And I'm like, there's got to be a way. So I went out to good old Google, and there was this company out in Texas that did dustless tile removal. So he was like, oh,
you can do it.
You can do it. So he got the big HEPA vacuums and the filters, and it was all because I was neurotic about moving into that house of how that company started.
You keeping your mouth going, got you another something.
Yes.
So yeah, I see I think it's a van or some sort of
he's got a couple
vehicle
trucks.
that says that on it while I drive back and forth to Mom's house. I've always wondered, like,
So normally when you
dustless?
take tile up, the dust goes in everywhere. It goes in all of the air filters and on everything. So he's actually got these commercial grade HEPA filters, and it all gets filtered in so you don't have all the dust everywhere.
That's cool. So you don't have to leave your space to get your...
Exactly.
That's very helpful.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. I don't have a ton of other background questions. I have a pretty good idea as to what you want to talk about. You made that pretty clear in my initial request to come in here. It's part of why I was nervous to talk to you. This is an area that I always would want to tread lightly, and I don't know the right questions to ask. So by all means, I am going to ask for some grace because I'm not a professional interviewer. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I would say that a good amount of people that are going to watch this probably know at least a portion of yours and Todd's story, and more importantly, Brittany's story. Mm-hmm. You don't know this. I have in my brain, which my memory is terrible. I mean, it is. I have a terrible memory.
Same.
I have an experience with Brittany that is burned in my brain.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Her horse's name was Rusty, right?
Yes.
Yeah. When we moved back to St. Lucie County, my wife and I moved to Ocala in about 2013. And we moved back here in 2016. And let's see, it would have been the summer of 2016. My son was just born and my daughter was 5. We were fishing on Header Canal. We moved back and we had moved into my mom and dad's house because they weren't living there. And while we were looking for a place here. And we were down this one afternoon, we were fishing, and Brittany rode out of your driveway on her horse, and she turned to go down towards Okeechobee Road. Mm-hmm. And my daughter was like, forget fishing, there's a horse right there. And Brittany took the time to come over and talk to us. And I can't remember if she put one of the kids up on the horse or not. I don't think she did, but she told us about the horse and just took the time to talk to some strangers. Yeah. And was such an energetic kid, nice kid, just an unbelievable experience. And I can replay it in my brain. Mm-hmm. And you could tell she loved that horse and was very proud of that horse and wanted to talk about it.
I love that.
And it's in there. There's not too many memories that are stuck in my brain, but that's one of them. And I wanted to tell you that when I knew you were coming in here. I wanted to tell you about that because that was my experience with her. It was fleeting and not very long, and but it was impactful. And man, this is the kind of kid who I want growing up in the area where I grew up. And anyway.
Thank you. I love that.
Tragedy came not too long after that. Mm-hmm. And I remember the story very well. I would like for you to tell as much of it or what parts of it you want to tell. Just that initial part, I don't even know how to ask you about it. So I'll let you kind of tell the story.
So January 15th, 2018, I opened up my treatment center in New Hampshire. I went to New Hampshire because there was a really big need for it up there at the time. So Brittany was home with her dad, and Santia was over.
She was 18?
Santia was 18. Brittany had just turned 17 on December 15th of the year before.
Okay.
So I was up north, and fast forward to February 6th. So I only had my treatment center open a couple of weeks. I had talked to Brittany that afternoon, FaceTime in my office. And last thing I did say to her was, I love you. Those are the last words that we had. So that was a beautiful thing. So I said, I'll call you later. I love you. So about, I don't know what time it was, around 6 o'clock or so, I was at my mom's house and talking to my husband on the phone. And we were on the phone for I don't know how long. He's like, all right, I got to go out back. Brittany's got a flat tire in her car. He had to go out and fix the flat tire. Called each other back again. And so we're on the phone and he's like, I got to go. You know, Chris, my neighbor, Chris Steele, he's like, he called and asked, you know, are your kids home? So I said, oh, okay, all right, bye. I hung up the phone real quick. So then I started doing the panic dialing. So I'm panic dialing Brittany, panic dialing Santia, Brittany, my husband, Todd, all the stuff. I'm just trying to call anybody and everybody that I can. So talk about feeling helpless.
Right. Not only are you worried about your kid, but you're worried about your kid and you're 1,000 miles away.
I know. So talk about helpless. So I called or texted my older sister who lives in Massachusetts, and I said to her, something's wrong. I'm like, I know something is wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm at my mom's house, and gosh, felt like forever. I can't even tell you what time it was. I don't even know. Finally, my husband calls, and he just says on the phone, you have to come home.
Take your time. We'll edit spaces out.
Said, you have to come home. So I said, okay. I said, what's the matter? Is she okay? Is she okay? And he said, no, and proceeded to tell me. And then I said, and Santia, and he said, and Santia too. So then I just literally blacked out. I don't remember anything from that point forward to arriving at the West Palm Beach airport. So I remember arriving at the West Palm Beach airport.
You just kind of go into autopilot mode, right?
I don't know what they shoved down my throat for drugs, but
Right.
They had to do something. And I was just like, you know, so my sister and my stepson, Toddy, they got me to the airport. They flew me here. And so I remember seeing my husband in the West Palm Beach airport when you walk up the ramp, you know, and I just remember seeing him. And then we're driving home, and my brother Ed was driving the truck, and he was trying to take me back way down by Glades Cutoff, down that way. So I was like, where are you guys going? I said, I need to go there. And so they weren't going to take me there to the accident scene. So I was like, I don't care. You guys can bring me home, and I'm going to get in my car, and I'm going to go there anyway. So we had just pulled into the accident scene, and it was overwhelming because there were already some kids there. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were already like kids gathering there. So there were already flowers, there were already notes, it was already like love right there. So I saw that, and then we went home, and I stayed in Brittany's bed until pretty much the services. Mm-hmm. So that was all kind of just like a blacked out kind of, still couldn't even process the magnitude of the situation that went into the accident. So I still can't process how all of that happened.
Right.
Like, how does a 99-year-old driving an RV the wrong way with no headlights, how does that happen? So I still can't put how all of that came together. And I say it to this day, if that man's family apologized to us and or said they were sorry, I would probably grieve with them. Mm-hmm. There has been nothing.
Right.
There's been zero. There's been nothing. So it's just so hard to wrap your head around, like, not being able to, there was no remorse, no nothing.
Right.
So that's been a really hard part of all of this, is kind of working through that. Like, if that happened to me and it was my family, I'd show up on the doorstep the next day. You know, just the magnitude of how it all happened.
Sure.
But then so it just went down into, I mean, to this day, it's still a fight. To this day, it's still an absolute, complete, total fight. To this day, I'll be listening to somebody talking about, you know, how there's an accident and they lost their child. And I'm like, oh, wouldn't that be horrible? Then I'm like, oh, wait, that did happen to you.
Yes, it is horrible.
It is horrible.
Right.
So it's navigating the new reality. It's navigating navigating who my husband and I are in our marriage. It's navigating who we are. It's just navigating all of it.
All of those challenges that like you can't even begin to probably even explain to someone.
You can't, because
Yeah.
and everybody grieves different. And I'm very fortunate and very lucky that my marriage has gotten stronger because we both respect how each other grieves.
Yeah.
But I still can't believe it happened.
Right.
Like even sitting there, you telling me the story about Brittany, it's like, oh, I still think I'm going to see her ride the horse down the street. You know, so it's just, it's still grasping that it actually did happen.
Yeah.
So,
for anybody that's watching, hopefully this is okay with you.
yeah.
For anybody that's watching that doesn't know what happened, the intersection of Midway Road and Okeechobee Road for a very long time had no stoplights, it's just a stop sign from Midway, and there was no real traffic pattern. It's just you go when you can go. A 99-year-old individual is driving an RV and turned off of Midway onto Okeechobee,
With no
going
headlights.
the wrong way with no headlights on at dusk or shortly
6:53 p.m.
after.
Yep.
So it's dark out. And your girls came from the west to east, and obviously he was coming the wrong way.
Yeah.
And there's been some major changes to that intersection. I'm still not convinced that it's entirely safe.
No.
But that's the story of what happened, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
I have that right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's something no parent wants to find themselves obviously in that position. I can completely understand everything that you've said. I have to imagine that once that initial, no, that's not the right way to say that. The initial grief never goes away. Once that initial shock kind of wears off,
It evolves.
you find yourself probably in a position where you can go one of a couple directions. You could go dark and be depressed and go down that avenue, or you could turn it into something that gives you purpose and something that, you know, honors them, which I think is the story that we're going to get to today, is that you've taken option B and route B, and you've turned that into the Brittany Lee Foundation.
Yes.
That's the right name, right?
Correct. Yep.
And I want to talk about a lot about what that foundation does and how you're involved in the community. A number of people that I have talked to already in this podcast, they brought your name up, like separately after we were done.
Oh, I love that.
And obviously it was a name that I was familiar with, and I know most of the story. And I know some of what your foundation does because I'm an interested observer from an arm's length. I would like to be closer than an arm's length because I think a lot of what you do is pretty cool. We'll circle back to like what the foundation is and what your exact mission is in a minute. But there's something, at least, I don't know that you do it every year, but there's something that you guys have done at least a couple of times that it's a little bit lighthearted. I want to like at least change the tone for a second. Your duck race.
Oh, it's every year.
Yeah. I was pretty sure it's every year. I wasn't exactly sure.
It's my one fundraiser.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this duck race is like the funnest thing. Tell everybody, like, what is this duck race? What does it do? And what's the purpose?
So one thing about St. Lucie County, we do have a lot of nonprofits.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think of something within the St. Lucie County where it's $5 to get involved. And I'm not going out and knocking on the same doors for sponsorships that everybody asks for and everything like that. So when I was pregnant, I used to collect rubber ducks for Brittany.
You were ahead of the Jeep craze.
Ahead of the Jeep craze. So I used to collect rubber ducks for Brittany. Granted, she lost every single one of them by the time she was probably 2, but whatever. So, and she also had ducks in the backyard. So up north, I knew of the rubber duck race. So they had one up north. So I said, why don't I do the rubber duck race here? Why don't I just do that? So I reached out to this company, I forget what it's called, the Great Duck Race, Great Duck Derby or something like that. And they're like, we can't help you because we do it in Sebastian at Captain Hiram's. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you have to be within 30 miles away from Captain Hiram's. So I was like, it's 29 miles. It's right. So they would not help me. So I was like, you know what? I'm ordering these ducks myself. So I went and I ordered the ducks myself from China, got them shipped and everything like that. They're all weighted. They got a weight on the bottom.
Yeah.
They're stored in my shed out back. And so that's how the duck race started, just by that. And so I ended up each year, we 5,000 rubber ducks get dropped in the Fort Pierce Marina.
Yep.
And they race for cash prizes.
Where's the finish line? Like, so it's you
So it
dump
usually
them all at
starts-
the same spot.
It depends on it's a whole, I don't know, whatever we want to call it that goes into it, the waves and the moon and whatever the wave cycles are.
Right.
But the norm is what we usually do is by the, that old restaurant we all know as of Krabby's.
Yep.
We drop them down on the pier there and they go all the way down to where the rock jetty is. The other rock jetty down is where Friday Fest is. So they go down.
That's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a couple videos throughout the years, and I think it's so cool. How many participants do you normally have?
Oh gosh, people ask me that and I have no idea. Sometimes I look outside in the crowd and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe there's so many people here.
Yeah.
So I can't even put a number on that.
Do you do it on the same date? Like
Usually the first November.
Okay.
In the first Sunday in November. And I have to do it on a Sunday because of the Saturday farmers market and everything like that.
Yeah.
So it's usually the first Sunday. We were doing in October, the beginning of October, but it was really hot.
Yeah.
So I figure right after those 4 weeks makes a big difference. So
it makes
cools
a huge
down
difference.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been pretty much the first November in the first Sunday in November.
That's the only fundraiser that you have?
It's the only one I do.
See, I didn't know that. I knew about the duck race, but I didn't know that was your only fundraiser. I think that it's so cool.
Yeah,
and it's
thank
like,
you.
it's like you said, it's something that everybody can get involved in.
Yes.
You don't have to be a big dollar donor
No.
to get involved. Like, come buy a duck.
And you could win $100,000 too.
It's pretty cool.
So it's I buy this insurance indemnity policy much like a hole-in-one.
Yeah.
So if the first place duck matches the number that they send me in a sealed envelope that's not open till the day of the race, you can win $100,000.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the foundation. Obviously, you set it up to remember Brittany and for her memory. What is your purpose? What is it that you guys are? What is it that you work on? Tell me about your foundation.
So when I knew I wanted to do something, but I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do.
Sure.
So Brittany being her two stepbrothers being involved in substance abuse, her plan was to go around to high schools, go around to grammar schools and talk to kids to tell them, even though your siblings, your mom and dad or this or that are addicted to drugs, they still love you. Mm-hmm. So that was her. That was her plan. That's what she was going to do.
Yeah.
So I started the foundation with this little section called Lee's Kids.
She had a big heart, huh?
She had a huge heart. She had a huge heart. She was the one that stuck up for the underdog completely. She had a huge
promise
heart.
you, in
Huge
that
heart.
one-time interaction that I had with her, it came across.
At her services, there's not a lot I remember about her services, but the one thing that stuck with me is that so many people came through and they said she was my best friend, and that's how she made people feel.
Yeah.
That as a parent is what you want. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? She can be the little monster at home and spaghetti stuck on the ceiling and all that kind of stuff, but hearing that she was my best friend, so many people said that, and that
the impact that your kids have in the community is really that's the metric for how you did as a parent, probably. Well,
she was pretty amazing. She still is amazing. She's still absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But so I ended up kind of dabbling in that route a little bit, but addiction being such a toxic kind of environment, I did not kind of want to be in that anymore with my grief, because with addiction also comes selfishness and things like that. So I would get very angry. So I said I kind of had to move away from that. So I was kind of pivoting, trying to think about what I want to do with her, I knew I wanted to help kids. I knew I wanted to do something with children. So I got involved. The first year I sent 250 Easter baskets to Graceway Village. So then the second year I was honoring Grace Packs at the duck race. So they were going to be my beneficiary of the duck race. So what I was doing for the first couple duck races, I was just giving the money away.
Yeah.
I was just giving
another charity
just
or another
charity that, St. Lucie County Fire Department Christmas for Kids.
Yeah.
So I gave a bunch of money away. Then I was like, well, that's really not going to put Brittany's foundation where it needs to be by giving it away all the time, even though I still financially support some of these.
Right.
These. So Christmas, a lot of people do Christmas and a lot of people do back to school. So, and a lot of people do Easter egg hunts with the little eggs. And I was like, nobody does full Easter baskets.
Yeah.
So I started doing full Easter baskets. So I did 250, then it jumped up to 850. And now we're over 10,000 Easter baskets that we've actually distributed to the kids in St. Lucie County.
That's awesome.
So we give a full-size Easter basket, chocolate bunny, stuffed animal, toy, candy, all kinds of treats, cotton candy. So we're up over 10,000 Easter baskets distributed.
Makes a big difference.
And that's from the duck race. That's all the funds from the duck race that goes into it.
It's interesting to see like your progression. You know, I'm going to give this money to other charities and let them distribute to. Wait a minute. Let me be more impactful in the way that I want to, and
Yes.
I can do that too.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I did.
That way you can distribute it and impact exactly how you want to and have the exact impact
And
you
it's
want.
literally, see, I look at it as, I mean, these little individual pieces of Brittany's heart touching all of these kids. So now some of these children, they're on their probably 4th or 5th year of getting an Easter basket from Brittany. So my goal is for those kids to come back and continue it.
Yeah.
You know, and help me assemble them, help me put them together. And then because I gave them an Easter basket. Last year, Project Lift, we gave Easter baskets to all the kids at Project Lift. These kids are 16, 17 years old, and they never had an Easter basket.
Isn't that sad?
It's so sad.
You know, obviously, I have said this in a number of episodes. Part of what has been so eye-opening in having these discussions is just how privileged my upbringing was and how good of an environment I was in.
Yeah.
And I think when you're in that environment, it's very easy not to realize it.
Correct.
Like, I am in this safest place. There is no outside influence that's really impacting me. Not everybody has that.
Correct.
And not everyone, even as simple as an Easter basket, not everybody has the Easter bunny dropping a basket off at their house. And that's, you know, watching kids and how much they enjoy it. Man, what a simple way to have such a positive impact. I love that.
Yeah, so I had to find a little niche, just like the ducks, something different.
Yeah.
You know, it's something different. So it's just, I went down that Easter basket path, and we'd give to, we give to the Fort Pierce Police Department, we give to Graceway Village, Grace Packs, Communities Connected for Kids.
Graceway does a phenomenal job. And I've talked with Crystal a little bit, and I know Crystal from West Side, like way back when I was a youth. I gotta quit making excuses and just have her in here because
she's amazing.
Graceway is doing some
she's done
phenomenal
amazing
stuff.
Yeah, fun fact, Haley, her daughter, was one of Brittany's best friends. Yeah. So, but Crystal has done great things with Graceway Village for sure.
Yeah. They're doing such a good job, and we need more.
Yeah.
Like not enough of that.
I agree.
All right. We're however long into this, and you haven't said the word cowgirl up yet, and I'm just a little bit surprised.
Literally, that's what I had to do. So she rode her horses and everything. And the worst, oh my gosh, we were at an Indian River County horse race one time, and she fell off, and I'm freaking out, but I have to silently freak out because then she's going to get mad at me for making a scene for freaking out that she fell off the horse. So I just sit there frozen, you know, in my chair, and she gets back up on the horse, and her biggest thing was she went to Granny Pam's ponies out west, and Granny Pam always told her, cowgirl up. So her biggest thing was get back on that horse and cowgirl up.
Yeah.
So I used her phrase when I was like, what direction am I going to? And this grief is so overwhelming. What direction am I going to? And I chose to cowgirl up.
Yeah. So that's like kind of a constant throughout, like anything that you look up about you is like, that's the motto. That's our thing.
Yeah.
So I figured we would get there at some point. I was trying to let you say it first, but we're this far into it and you haven't brought it up yet.
You got to cowgirl up.
Yeah.
I mean, she's probably cringing right now that I say it, but you know,
that's what
cowgirl up.
That's what our kids are supposed to do. We're supposed to make them
do.
cringe, man.
Yeah.
Like my daughter cringes at every single thing that I do.
That's the most beautiful part of being a parent, right? Making your kid cringe. Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
she's 15. I'm supposed to be embarrassing her.
That's
like,
prime
I don't
time.
know. Yeah.
That's prime time.
Yeah.
But she was with Brittany, she was a horse rider, but she wasn't a blue ribbon rider.
Mm-hmm.
But
wait, what does that mean?
She wasn't first place all the time.
Okay.
But she did go to the St. Lucie County Fair, and she was in the horse barn. Are you familiar with the fair?
I am.
The Herdsman Award?
Yeah.
She won that twice.
I actually had a young man stop by just today and drop off some, what do they call it? The pig auction.
The buyer's letters?
Yeah. Drop me off a buyer's letter today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love our 4-H programs. I think they do such a phenomenal job. And our fair is so cool. Like the kids who are involved in that get such a cool experience.
There at 4-H was one of the amazing things I loved she was in. I mean,
only a handful of our kids get to participate in that anymore, but like it is so cool.
It's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, it teaches some cool lessons.
But so she got that Herdsman Awards twice.
Okay.
So I mean that speaks volumes for who she was as a person. So that's, you know.
I like that. I don't know that I'd ever heard the blue ribbon rider. I'm not big in the horse community, but I don't think I'd ever heard that. But it's interesting to like, yeah, well, maybe she wasn't winning first place, but she was having the impact that we as parents wanted her to have.
Absolutely.
So I mean, that's like, who cares about the ribbons?
Yep.
You know?
For sure. I was. That's as a parent. That's what you want. You want your child to be safe in the home, and you want them to be rambunctious and do whatever it is. But when they go out, that's when you want them to really,
of course,
shine of how you taught them their manners.
That's the representation of how you've raised them. It's like how they behave when they're out in the world, maybe even without you. Like, how do they interact with people, and how do they communicate? And it's it's quite the challenge.
Right.
Well, you did well. Tell me more.
Just carrying Brittany's legacy on. She 17. I mean, gosh, that's just so tragic. So I just wanted to make sure that as a parent, I just don't want her forgotten. And I feel like as her mom, I just got to keep talking about her and talking about her and talking about her. I don't want her forgotten. In the Brittany Lee Foundation, it's not me, it's her. It's definitely not me, it's her. So even when I do things and I talk to people like this and everything like that, it's not me.
Yeah.
It's Brittany who's coming back, and just Brittany's coming through me and saying, Mom, do this, do that, and just carrying on her sunshine. Wherever she went, she would just lit up the room. She'd walk in, she'd have everybody laughing. She'd light up the room. She stuck up for the underdog.
Obviously, when you lose a child, it changes who you are.
Oh, absolutely.
Was that your personality type, obviously pre-losing her? Did she get that from you, from Todd? Is that like an individual thing? Like, how do you explain, like, where does that come from?
I could talk to anybody anywhere. It comes from my mom, but I'm also love to be home alone by myself. So then my husband's kind of the same. So I don't know. It's a little mix, I think, of both of us.
Yeah. So
it's like I can be at the grocery store and I'll always tell the cashier, your nails look great. You got to be nice to people.
Yeah.
So I think she got that maybe from me, but I love to be home and an introvert too, though. So I think she got it from my husband too, because he's kind of the same. He can talk to anybody, so I don't know.
I can talk to anybody, but I
like
like to be home on my couch by myself.
Yes, in my yard, on my side-by-side. That's my husband. But she was just, ever since she was little, she was just so rambunctious and just so full of life. And just a caretaker. So
anything else that we're going to talk about, I think it'll either be something that you bring up or something that I've just made as an observation. This isn't anything that I researched and found. These are just questions that kind of like being your neighbor, or at least partly being your neighbor for so long, I have some questions about. The memorial sites that both girls have on Okeechobee Road. One's in the middle of the median and one is off to the side. Who maintains those?
I do.
I thought that was probably the answer. You do a phenomenal job of changing with the seasons and making them so beautiful.
Thank you.
Sunflowers.
Sunflowers.
So there's always, or at least usually, sunflowers around those.
So Brittany went to Central. She went to St. A's, and then she went over to St. Andrews for 9th grade, and then she convinced me to send her to Central. So I wanted her to go to John Carroll, but she didn't want to go. So anyways, she went to Central, and they have every year the Treasure Coast Food Bank, I think, does the ceramic bowls.
Okay.
So the day of the accident, her and Santia were at the house, and they were doing a ceramic bowl. She had one in school that was in the art room. She called me and she said, Mom, we're doing these ceramic bowls for charity. How much are you going to give me for it? So I was like, oh, I'll give you $50 for it. And she's like, all right, I'm going to make 2. So I don't know if they were $10 and she got me for 40 each. I don't know.
Of course.
So of course she did. So that's entrepreneurship though, right?
Yeah.
So she ended up in school having a sunflower bowl. Miss Ava, the art teacher, and her were really good friends. So she convinced her art teacher to bring all the art supplies home. So she brought all the art supplies home. So that day, they were in the kitchen. Brittany was making another sunflower bowl, and Sophia was making a little ceramic vase.
Yeah.
So nobody knows that's the real reason behind the sunflower. It's because that's literally what she was doing 2 hours before, was making a new sunflower bowl. So the sunflower bowl that was in school, her school teacher and her friend Ashton, they ended up glazing it and painting it, and then they put it in the art show, downtown Fort Pierce art show. So I have both bowls. I have the original one that was in school, and I have the one that's still half finished. So that's where it came from, is the sunflower.
Yeah. Well, anybody who drives by there, you can't drive by without noticing. You do a phenomenal job of making them beautiful and keeping them Beautiful.
Thank you.
And
The two in the middle were all her friends.
yeah.
Her friends gathered and did that. Parker Platts, Kylie Platt's dad, he was the one that put the 2 initial crosses in the middle. I think it was the day after. And then the large cross on the right-hand side was her 4-H club. They did that one on the right-hand side.
I've always wondered the sequence and how they got there. I don't remember, but.
And then the tree, I don't know how that happened. I was decorating, and then I was just like, let's do a tree.
Yeah.
And so every single ornament on that tree has been put on by the community. So each year, I go there every year, and each year there's a new ornament, there's a new little note, there's a new something. So, I mean, 8 years later, going into 8 years, and I'm still getting new ornaments on that tree. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it at least makes you feel like you're succeeding in your mission not to let her be forgotten.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And I told you this in the beginning. I was so nervous to talk to you about this. I'm not a professional interviewer, and I didn't know how to ask these questions. I'm very grateful that this is going at least well, in my opinion. Here is maybe a next level question, and you can pass, you can punt,
Sure,
you can
yeah.
whatever
Yep.
on any of these. As a mom who has experienced the loss of a kid in this way, what would you have to say to other moms who are experiencing or will experience the loss of a child in this way? Is there anything? Here's why I'm asking. I don't know what to say to somebody like that. There are no words that are magically going to make it better or bring it back. But also, saying nothing doesn't feel right. Like, how do you talk to someone in that situation? As someone who has experienced it, I'd be interested in your perspective, whether or not we keep this on tape or not. I'm interested to know for my own personal reasons. Like, how do you
really
talk to somebody
powerful.
that way?
That's really powerful. So let me tell you this. So Brittany was tragically taken.
Mm-hmm.
So last fall, my nephew was 30 years old. His name was Nathan. He passed away. So my sister lost her son too.
Mm-hmm.
He died of complications from, he was spina bifida, and he had complications, he had infections and stuff like that. Different circumstance of death. I did not know what to say to her.
Right.
And I went through it myself. So there are no right words. There are no one thing you don't say is you'll get through this, is they're in a better place. You don't ever say that kind of stuff. All you do is you look at that person and say, I have no words, just know I'm thinking of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's in a nutshell, that's it. Because some people, I mean,
That feels so insufficient. But
it's
like,
not,
as,
though. There are no
Right.
words. There are literally no words. I went through it, and my sister just went through it, and I did not know what to say to her.
yeah.
I looked at my brother-in-law and I literally said to him, I don't know what to say to you. And there's nothing you can say.
Mm-mm.
There's nothing you can say, because the number one thing as a parent is keeping your child safe, you're keeping your child secure, and you have all these things that go through your head, like if I did this different, if I did that different, if I did this different, then why was I in New Hampshire trying to be a big girl opening up a treatment center? I should have been home yelling at her saying, no, you can't go out on a school night. So there's all this stuff that goes through your head.
Yeah.
So there's nothing you want to hear from anybody.
Right.
There's nothing that can take the pain away. There's nothing that can erase it. There's nothing. Don't tell me that you just lost your cat and you know how I feel. Like, there's nothing that can.
Is there any comfort in people saying, like, I'm here if you need me?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
I'm sure you get that a million times over when you're in that scenario, and you're kind of operating on cruise control. So it's like, yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
It takes a while to let people in, too.
You're right.
It definitely takes a while to let people in, because, and I also say, too, it's the degree and the level of the problems. So I respect people for where they're at in their life.
Mm-hmm.
They're very fortunate that they don't have to deal with what I dealt with. If you're dealing with problems at work and you're dealing with marriage problems and things like that, I respect that for you. Those are your problems, and you're very fortunate you don't have the problem I have. I will listen to you. I will help you. I will cheer you on, give you advice, unsolicited or not. I will do that for people.
Yeah.
Because you can't compare my problem. On problem scale, I feel like mine's way up here. But I respect people with what they're going through, and I'm very jealous that they don't have to go through what I'm going through. But I'm never going to shut anybody out of what's going on in their life, and I will be there to help them through it.
Kind of crazy to say I'm jealous of someone else's problems, but in perspective, like, that makes sense. I never really thought of it from that angle, but like, that's interesting to hear. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that.
Yeah,
That is
absolutely 100%. It's.
Oh, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now that you say it, like, I get it.
Yep.
All right. Well, here's your opportunity to tell people what I missed. What else is there? What in...
You missed nothing, because I think Brittany's soul is just captured in the beauty that she is.
Yeah.
And that's just my goal in life, is to capture her soul, her beauty, and never let her memory die. It's not about me, it's about her. And I truly feel like I've gotten in arguments with people over this, and they said, well, who are you as a person? Who are you as a person? Who are you? And I said, I am Brittany's mom. I really feel in my heart and my soul, I was put on this earth to be Brittany's mom.
Yeah.
Whether it's not my accolades in business, whether it's what I've done with that, I am Brittany's mom.
That's the first bullet point on the resume, huh?
That's the most amazing thing my most amazing accomplishment, and will always be my most amazing accomplishment, is being her mom. I was chosen to be Brittany's mom, and I feel so lucky for that. Even though it ended up in pain and heartache, I wouldn't change those 17 years for nothing.
Yeah.
Because she chose me.
You know, I'll go full circle, and just to tell you, like, in the brief interaction that I had with her, and I mean this, my memory is terrible. Ask anybody. For that interaction to be so vivid, I can see her on the horse if I close my eyes. I don't have memories like that.
I love that.
She was very impactful, and just like I said in the beginning, taking the time to just talk to my kids, and not, hey guys, it's nice to see you, let me go ride my horse. She stopped what she was doing on that day and gave my kids full attention. Yeah. Adults don't do that, much less a teenage girl.
Yeah.
And
that's who she was.
Yeah.
For sure.
Phenomenal interaction. And just, if that was my interaction with her in that short little time, I have to imagine that everybody else's interactions with hers were phenomenal.
Like I said, 17 years old, I just can't even believe the children that are named after her with the middle name Lee. I don't even know where we're up to now, 10 maybe, with the middle name Lee.
It's got to be kind of an honor, right?
It's such an honor. I mean, even tattoos.
Yeah.
I have to start a little book of all the tattoos that people have of her, like the honorary tattoos. It's just amazing. And it's just, when people come up to you and they keep telling the same story over and over again, and I love that. I'll listen to the same story about Brittany like I heard it for the first time, because you're still talking about her.
Yeah.
You know, she's still being talked about. The funny stories, and it's just, to me, that's everything. Like, say her name. That's the best thing for any parent, is to hear your child's name when they're gone. It's the best thing.
Yeah.
The absolute best thing.
I mean, it's 8 years?
8 years. It just was 8.
And you hadn't heard my story yet, my interaction with her yet.
Right.
Like, right. I got to imagine there's probably a lot more of them out there that you just haven't gotten around to hearing yet, and they're probably there.
Last year, when we were doing the Easter Basket Assembly Day, I believe it was the vice principal of Central. I believe it was the vice principal, and I'm so sorry if I can't remember your name. She came up to me and she tapped me on the shoulder and she said, you know, I've never met you. She said, but I was the vice principal at Central. And I just want you to know, the day before the accident, Brittany was in my office talking about somebody being bullied and how to help them. That's who she was.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it's 7 years later, I hear this story about what she did. So she just, I don't know. And I feel like we lost her to make other people look inwards upon themselves. And I feel like that's kind of, I could have went down a dark path, not gonna lie. I mean, when I go home at night and I put my head on my pillow, I pat myself on the back because I survived another day without saying, hey, that tree looks great over there. I miss my daughter. I'm not depressed. I'm not suicidal or anything like that. I miss my daughter. And I think if I go to the tree, I'll be able to see her. But then again, she's gonna be mad at me. You left dad, you know, all this kind of stuff. So it's like, I have to keep going. I can either choose, like we talked about before, you know, going down the dark path of substance abuse.
Yeah,
no, that's
which
not,
a lot of people do.
Which a lot of people do. And I don't judge them, because until you carry this weight, you can't judge.
Yeah.
So, but I said, I have to celebrate her. I still have to talk about her. I need her name out there. I need to keep talking about her. And that's Brittany Lee Foundation, is me being able to talk about her.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'll just, for the sake of the audience, you're not just saying that on camera. I sent you a message to invite you on the show, and your answer was exactly that. Yeah, I want to come on, and I want to come talk about Brittany. And yeah, I was like, oh man, that's exactly what I want. I want to focus on people that are trying to make an impact in this community, but that have a reason to. And my God, do you?
Thank you.
And it sounds like you're doing it.
Trying.
Yeah.
Trying.
Well,
definitely trying. I mean, I have to get better with social media because I'm horrible on social media. So that was my biggest thing, is getting more involved with her Facebook and stuff like that. I'm not good at it. So, but just, I don't know, just meeting people within the community, celebrating her, hearing a story that I've never heard. That's the stuff that keeps me going.
yeah,
That's for sure the stuff that keeps me going.
she was a cool kid.
Yeah.
And, you know, I even my own little personal interaction, like,
Love that.
awesome. So keep it up.
Thank you.
Whatever we can do to help highlight you is like, that's what we
Thank
want to
you.
do.
Appreciate that.
There's nothing else. That was it. That's
Thank
the
you.
story, right?
Thank you, sir.
You got it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
All right, well, that was good.
Yeah.
You aren't nervous anymore, right?
No. Thank you for making that easy.
Of course. If I talk about